On the day of my surgery, Ethan Brooks had promised to be there for me, but out of the blue, he lied to me, saying he had to attend his grandfather's funeral just so he could be with another woman. After the operation, I saw a photo in our school group chat. It was him, hugging a younger girl from our school, with the caption, "Happiness is having someone who's always there when you're sick or down." Everyone thought I'd lose my temper. Even his mom tried to console me. "Ethan lied because he didn't want you to worry. He and Lily are just childhood friends. There's nothing going on." I just smiled. They might as well get married and stop wasting each other's time. 15 days later, I was in a wheelchair, wrapping up my discharge paperwork, when Ethan finally showed up. He handed me a bouquet of red roses and said, "I'm sorry. Here we go again," I thought. A bunch of red roses and an apology were Ethan's classic moves. I loved Ethan. I feared losing him, so I always played along. But this time, I didn't take the flowers. As I lay alone at night, staring at the hospital ceiling, looking at that photo of him and Lily Summers, I finally realized that some love, no matter how humbly offered, would never bloom. The weather in my heart, whether sunny or stormy, was no longer under Ethan's control. "I'm sorry. Lily has depression. She was crying and throwing fits. Ethan began to explain, but I cut him off, tired of hearing the same old excuses. "Enough. I know what you're going to say." Every time, it was the same tale of how miserable Lily was and how much she needed help. But wasn't I miserable too? Didn't I need support? 3 months ago, Ethan was chatting with Lily, not paying attention, and ran a red light just as a car sped by. I pushed him out of the way, getting hit myself, resulting in 2 surgeries to place steel plates in my legs. Seeing my cold demeanor, Ethan looked taken aback, a flicker of confusion and embarrassment in his eyes. "I'll help you into the car." "No need," I refused. When I first got injured, Ethan helped with everything. But one time, while he was on the phone with Lily, I asked him to fetch something for me. He snapped, "Can't you do it yourself?" He apologized later, but I never asked for his help again. Yet he never seemed to tire of caring for Lily, even using his grandfather's funeral as an excuse. In the car, I closed my eyes and rested, not saying a word. Ethan didn't try to console me, probably thinking I'd get over it soon, just like before. When we got home, I walked in to find Lily wearing a nightgown, holding a spatula, coming out of the kitchen. "You're back. Dinner is almost ready," she said with a smile, grabbing a tissue to wipe the sweat off her nose, then reaching up to dab the sweat off Ethan's forehead like a perfect wife. It seemed they had been living together while I was in the hospital. "Lily gets scared being home alone, so Ethan started to explain. In the past I would have exploded in a fight with Ethan, but now I just nodded slightly, ignoring his excuses, and wheeled myself straight to the bedroom. Behind me, I heard Lily's sweet, pitiful voice. "Ethan, is Emma mad again?" She always played the victim, looking so delicate and mistreated. "It's fine, she'll calm down soon," Ethan reassured her patiently, spouting his usual lines. I smirked and shut myself in the bedroom. The first thing I saw was a photo of Ethan and me, taken when we had just started dating. We were sitting on a lawn at sunset, laughing and sharing dreams of the future. All of that had crumbled the moment Lily stepped into our lives. "Dinner's ready," Ethan called out. I ignored him and started packing my things. When I emerged, suitcase in hand, Lily and Ethan were sitting together at the dining table. "Emma, what's this about?" Ethan looked puzzled. "I'm moving out," I said, not bothering to look at him. "Stop being ridiculous, Emma." Ethan stood up quickly and blocked my path. He frowned and scolded slightly. "Lily is just staying here for a while. Nothing happened between us. Whatever you two have going on, it's none of my business," I replied coolly. I was the one being abandoned, yet Ethan's tone made it sound like I was the unreasonable one. How absurd. Just as Ethan opened his mouth to argue, Lily started coughing dramatically. "It's all my fault. I shouldn't have come. I made Emma misunderstand." Lily's eyes were filled with tears, her body trembling, eventually collapsing to the floor, clutching her head, as if she was having an episode. "It's not your fault. Emma isn't really leaving." Ethan hurried over to comfort her, his eyes full of worry. In the past, I had only put on a show, hoping Ethan would realize the seriousness of the situation. But it had backfired. Ethan thought I was easy to appease and couldn't live without him. Well, he was in for a surprise this time. I stepped outside into the sunshine and fresh air, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. I was finally free from the exhausting pretense. I had already rented a new place while I was in the hospital. As soon as I arrived, my phone buzzed incessantly. It was the school group chat, full of notifications. Lily had posted a photo of Ethan feeding her with a heartfelt caption. "Thank you, Ethan, for always being there for me. Without you, I don't know what I would have done. It's so wonderful to have someone by your side." Ethan's reply was casual, downplaying it as if it were no big deal. I had just left, and they were already flaunting their closeness. Were they mocking me for being alone? The group chat erupted with comments, joking that I was about to storm in and create a scene. I shook my head and laughed, typing into the group chat. "You two are practically inseparable. Why not just get married already?" Instantly, the chat exploded with question marks and exclamation points. Ethan and Lily both fell silent. Moments later, Ethan messaged me privately, in a demanding tone. "Emma, what do you mean? Stirring things up in the group chat isn't helping. You misunderstood. I was being sincere." I replied nonchalantly, then tossed my phone aside and continued unpacking. The phone didn't buzz again. Ethan probably thought I was just throwing a tantrum, and that I'd come running back to him within 48 hours. But inside, I felt nothing. My legs needed another week of rest, before I could ditch the wheelchair. During that time, I kept myself busy with books on psychology, rekindling an old interest. There was a time when I couldn't focus on anything without Ethan, constantly checking my phone for his messages. Even a simple reply from him used to bring me some relief. Now, I found peace in being alone. I read, watched shows, and played with the neighbors' pets. Ethan messaged me a few times, his tone softer, asking me to calm down, and even inquiring about where I was staying. I sent him a reply. None of your business. He also called a few times, but I didn't pick up. Then Ethan's mother called. Emma, why did you move out? Even if you and Ethan had a fight, you shouldn't do something so reckless. What if you get scammed? I've reserved a table at a restaurant for tonight. Let's meet and talk, okay? She sounded anxious. All right, I agreed. Some things needed to be cleared up so people wouldn't think I was being petty or unreasonable. In the evening, I arrived at the restaurant. Before I entered the private room, I overheard Ethan's mother complaining. Ethan, it must be hard for you. Honestly, you spoil Emma too much. That's why she feels so entitled. Lily said she's run away from home several times already. I paused, then smirked coldly. Like mother, like son. So now I'm the spoiled one? Just because I'm standing up for myself, I'm in the wrong? I'm supposed to be treated unfairly by Ethan? I thought bitterly. That was just absurd. Emma is just overly sensitive. Lily's voice cut in. You two have been friends forever. If Lily hadn't spent those 2 years abroad, you'd have been together a long time ago. Emma wouldn't even be in the picture, Ethan's mother added. A cold shiver ran through me. So the rumors were true. I'd heard whispers about this before from Ethan's middle school friends. They hinted at something, but Ethan quickly changed the subject, telling them not to spread gossip. I thought it was just idle chatter, but it turned out I was merely a placeholder in his life. No wonder Ethan didn't even try to defend me. Even when I was on the brink of walking away, I was still at fault. It was clear now. His heart was always with Lily. Miss, could you please move over? The waiter's voice broke my train of thought. I took a deep breath and followed him into the private room. The seating arrangement was clear. They were huddled together like a perfect little family, while I was the unwelcome guest. Ah, Emma, you're here. Come on in. Ethan's mother greeted me, but there was a hint of unease in her smile. How's your leg? Feeling better? Ethan looked up at me. Before I could respond, Lily jumped in. Emma must be recovering so quickly, unlike me, with my psychological issues and frequent colds. It's fine. We'll make sure you're well taken care of, Ethan said, holding her hand in a way that was far too affectionate, ignoring me completely. Did he think my presence here meant everything was back to normal? Or was he deliberately flaunting this to make me submit? Either way, I wasn't backing down. I wasn't the same person who would feel jealous or angry. Now I just felt a wave of disgust. Lily, don't worry, we'll look after you, Ethan's mother said, then turned to me with a forced smile. Emma, don't you agree? It's not my problem. That's between you, I said, my tone icy. Ethan's mother's smile froze, and her brows furrowed in surprise. Clearly she hadn't expected me to respond like that. Back then, I used to be overly polite to her. Every time I went to their house, I would jump at the chance to help with anything. Meanwhile, Lily would just lounge on the couch, and Ethan would be busy peeling fruit and serving her snacks. I'd feel a pang of jealousy, wishing Ethan would do the same for me. But when I asked, he'd just say, "Can't you get it yourself?" I loved Ethan so much at the time that I was terrified he'd think I was being petty. So, I'd choke back my tears and put up with it. I never asked for anything like that again. Emma, my mom has even come all this way to apologize. What else do you want? I've explained everything over and over, Ethan said, his face darkening. He felt he'd already done more than enough, but my refusal to back down was too much for him to handle. Yes, Emma, Ethan and I are just friends, nothing more. Please don't be upset. Let's have a drink and move on. Lily picked up her glass, putting on a conciliatory act. Why would I be upset? I glanced at her and continued. I'm here to clear the air. Ethan, I was completely devoted to you, but you only had eyes for Lily and ignored how I felt. So, I'm done. I don't want to keep this up. I'm giving you your freedom. With that, I stood up and turned to leave. Emma, my son's been discovered by a talent scout and is set to appear on a dating show soon. He's going to be a big deal everywhere. You'll regret leaving today. Think carefully, Ethan's mother said, her chin held high. No matter how famous he gets, it won't change a thing for me, I said, walking out the door without a second glance. When you were in love, even if the person was down and out, they shone brightly in your eyes. But when you were no longer in love, even their success couldn't make them glow. Emma, Ethan caught up to me, grabbed my wrist, and asked in a trembling voice, will you please not leave me?